So, let me ask you something. Have you ever been to a party where one person just keeps talking about how great they are? You know the type. My job is the best. My car is the fastest. My dog can do my taxes. It gets a little much, right? Well, for a long time, America has kind of been that person at the world's party. We hear it all the time, this idea that the United States isn't just another country on the map. No, it's special. It's exceptional. But is it, really? Is America truly the Beyoncé of nations, a singular, once-in-a-generation superstar? Or is it more like a member of a really successful boy band, talented and famous, but not the only one with great dance moves? This question is a big deal. It's not just about bragging rights. It shapes how America sees itself, and it shapes how it acts in the world. It's the difference between walking into a room with confidence and walking in thinking you own the place. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of this idea called American exceptionalism. We're not here to tear America down, and we're not here to build a golden statue of a bald eagle. We're here to look at the facts, to have a little fun, and to figure out what's real and what's just really good marketing. It's a story you probably didn't get in your high school history class. That class was probably more interested in memorizing the names of old white guys with powdered wigs. We're gonna dive into the reasons people stand up and chant USA, USA with a tear in their eye. We'll look at the big, shiny arguments for why America is supposedly in a league of its own. Think founding ideals, global power, and the cultural juggernaut that is Hollywood. But we'll also look at the other side of the coin. The side that textbooks sometimes conveniently forget to print. We'll talk about the historical baggage, the moments where America didn't live up to the hype, and the dangers of believing you're the exception to every rule. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of this massive, complicated, and often contradictory concept. We're not here to give a simple yes or no answer. Life and politics aren't that simple. Instead, we want to give you the tools to think about it for yourself. All right, let's start with the basics. What is this mouthful of a phrase, American exceptionalism? It sounds like something a professor would say right before you fall asleep in a lecture. But the idea is actually pretty simple. It's the belief that the United States is fundamentally different from other nations. Not just a little different, like how Canada is different. Polite people. Canadian bills that smell like maple syrup. No, this is a deep down, in its DNA kind of different. It suggests America is unique in its mission, unique in its values, unique in its place in history. It's the theory that America operates on a separate higher plane. This idea has been around for a long, long time. It didn't just pop up last week on Twitter. It goes way back, even before the country was officially a country. Think of it as the original American origin story. So, where did this whole "we're special" idea come from? For that, you have to rewind the clock. Go way back. The number one reason people point to for American exceptionalism is its founding. The origin story. The United States wasn't born out of 1,000 years of kings and queens fighting over land. It was consciously created. A bunch of guys in a hot, stuffy room in Philadelphia wrote down a set of ideas on parchment. All men are created equal. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. These were radical thoughts at the time. Revolutionary even. This was like the music industry before and after sampling. A beat from John Locke, a lyric from Montesquieu. Mix it into a whole new track. A track called Democracy. A written constitution and individual rights, for its time, genuinely exceptional. America as a nation defined by a creed, not bloodlines. Anyone from anywhere can theoretically become an American by buying into these ideals. Democracy, opportunity, the melting pot. Of course, the mixtape wasn't perfect. The guys writing "all men are created equal" owned other humans as property. Women couldn't vote. Native Americans were being displaced and killed. The ideals were powerful, but the practice was deeply flawed from the start. Reason number 2 for the whole American exceptionalism argument is the glow-up. The serious, world-changing glow-up. For much of its early history, America was just this quirky little experiment across the ocean. Europe was the center, America, the weird cousin. Then came vast natural resources, a flood of ambitious immigrants, and a couple of world wars that conveniently didn't happen on its soil. America became incredibly wealthy, technologically advanced, militarily dominant. After World War II, the superpower. The kid with every console, everyone wanted to come over. The dollar ruled. Ford, Coca-Cola, IBM, United Nations, World Bank, head of the global table. Economic and military might gave unparalleled influence. In crises, people asked, what is the US going to do? Bases worldwide, Navy on every ocean, the world's police, banker, influencer. But a global footprint steps on a lot of lawns. Leadership can look like bullying, controversial wars, covert operations, and policies that sometimes helped America at others' expense. Power is one thing, wisdom is another entirely. The third big pillar of American exceptionalism isn't about armies or banks. It's about something softer, maybe even more powerful. Culture, American movies, American music, American fashion, tiny village in Thailand, a Yankees cap, Nigeria, a car blasting the latest Taylor Swift, Levi's, iPhones, Hollywood blockbusters, hip-hop. It's called soft power, winning people over without firing a shot. Optimism and the American dream. A poor immigrant becomes a millionaire. A tech nerd changes the world. Rocky, Aaron Brockovich. The Pursuit of Happiness. Parables of the American spirit. Hope, individualism. Your future not defined by your past. This vibe attracts and inspires millions. But there's a catch. It can feel like a cultural steamroller. Coca colonization. Every city the same. Chains and the same blockbusters. The shiny dream on screen can hide a harsher reality. Debt, inequality, lack of opportunity. The dream is real for some, but for many it remains just that, a dream. Always changing can liberate or erase. Other cultures preserve. American culture often tears down to build new. That forward momentum attracts talent, ambition, creativity, and criticism. Okay, so we've talked about the highlight reel, the founding ideals, the global power, the cultural boom, but if we're honest, we have to look at the parts people leave off. The other experiences section. The country's foundation was built on the backs of enslaved people. You can't call America a beacon of liberty while ignoring centuries of brutal slavery. Land of the free rang hollow for millions. After abolition, Jim Crow, segregation, systemic racism that still shapes outcomes today. For Native Americans, westward expansion meant broken treaties, forced relocations, outright genocide. The land the city upon a hill sits on was taken. Abroad, for every liberation there's interference for self-interest. The US has acted like a typical great power, making it hard to call America uniquely moral. America is capable of great good and great harm. That contradiction doesn't fit on a bumper sticker, but it belongs in the story. Now, we get to one of the biggest problems with the idea of American exceptionalism. It's not just about whether it's true or false. It's about how the idea is used. Believing you are special can motivate and inspire a nation to do great things, but it can also become a get-out-of-jail-free card for bad behavior. If you truly believe you're the exception, you start thinking the rules don't apply. That's when things go wrong. Leaders can justify what they'd condemn in others. Invading becomes liberation. Ignoring treaties becomes protecting interests. Take healthcare. The US spends far more per person than peers, yet often has worse outcomes. Others deliver better care for less, yet we're different blocks learning. Exceptionalism fuels superiority and isolation. It damages alliances and blocks cooperation on global problems no nation can solve alone. Believing you're exceptional can be what stops you from being great. So, where does all this leave us? Is America exceptional or not? The truth is, it's both, and it's neither. Think of America as a split screen. On one side, the ideals. On the other, the reality. It can produce Martin Luther King Jr. and the people who opposed him. It champions free speech and persecutes dissenters, wealth and innovation, and crushing poverty and inequality. SpaceX and Google, breakthroughs in medicine and AI, yet failing infrastructure elsewhere. One country, two realities. justice for all as ideal, and the highest incarceration rate with racial disparities. Justice often depends on money. So asking, is America exceptional, is the wrong question. Better, in what ways is it succeeding and failing? How do we close the gap between ideals and reality? So, after all this, we're back to our party, America, the person who kept telling everyone how great they are, maybe now with some self-reflection. Bragging about being the best matters less than actually being a good person. The story of American exceptionalism is truth, myth, and wishful thinking. The US isn't exempt from history. It's a powerful nation with triumphs and tragedies. The real challenge isn't to be better than everyone else. It's to live up to its own best story: liberty, equality, justice. For all, not just some. Maybe retire exceptionalism and replace it with aspiration. Lead by example, not by force. Learn from others. The story is still being written. The path ahead depends on which story America believes about itself. Is the goal to be exceptional, or is the goal to be good? And are those two things always the same?